Welcome, Pisces Rising, Sun or Moon. Please listen to your rising sign first, as this will give you the most accurate placement in the forecast. Well, let's start with Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto has been here since 2008 in your 11th house and will be here until 2023. And when Pluto transits through a house, it usually breaks down that area before it starts to build it up again. And with Pluto in your 11th house, you have been going through most likely great changes in regards to your goals and plans connected to the future. And during this transit, which has been a long one, you may have been coming across some of the following. Activities that you used to find fun, or groups that you may have belonged to don't seem fun any longer. Or you may not want to spend time with the same friends any longer. Your connections change. You find there's certain goals that's not really worth pursuing for you anymore. Maybe there's a way that you saw your life to turn out that's now changing. And this is a house you really want to watch going forward in the next year, as Venus will also retrograde in this house. As we enter the year, Venus, Pluto, and and Mars will conjoin here as well. And Pluto here has been making powerful transformations and is reaching critical degrees in 2022 before it enters Aquarius in your 12th house. So there will be an intensity point reached here in the next while, sort of a boiling point for changes to finally sort of transform, to reach that pivoting point. Throughout this transit, you may have, subconsciously sort of seeked out friendships that had intense encounters, or most of the connections that you have during this time will play a purpose in your individual growth somehow as a person. One person that has a very powerful effect on you could change your course of life. That you have also been seeking this, so it's definitely meant to be. There can sometimes be an avoidance of associating with people with Pluto here, and maybe going more into like a hermit mode. But you can get in contact with a lot of powerful people or people in government. You want to make sure that you're not being manipulated to go on the wrong path, or manipulated or abused in any way. Someone you meet could possibly guide you in some way in your future goals. There can be inheritances with Pluto here. There can be death in the family, or some really transformative event. But usually with this transit, people can get more interested in changing society as well, or the changes in society has a profound effect on them and their future plans and how they see the future. And some friendships might end, and alliances might end, and views might end. But these are all for your own good at this time. So you will probably go through quite a few changes in regards to your plans for the future that could pivot in huge ways in the coming year or two, your friendships and alliances and so forth. And then Neptune is in Pisces and has been since 2011 and will be until 2025 in your first house. And this can significantly change the way you interact with others. You can find it's a bit harder for you, or more difficult for you, to face everyone all the time. This is a time where you are questioning who you are and going through interactions and events that get you to know yourself more. This can be a period where the face you put out to the world is not really the true you. It just sort of helps you to relate to others. You can find that you are more like a chameleon with Neptune here, like you sort of take on other people's personas or styles, or pretend to be like other people in order to be accepted or feel like you can relate or belong in some group of some kind. You can be more wanting to sort of fit in with the Joneses. This can make it difficult in relationships that you want to last, because this can make people fall in love with you, for example, and then find out you're not who you pretended to be. Or people get to know you more and then not really know, like they get to know the real you, because you can only pretend for so long, and then it causes difficulties in relationships, and you might not even be fully aware that you are doing this. This can totally be happening subconsciously due to some form of separation or rejection or abandonment issues from the past, possibly. Your sense of reality can be clouded with Neptune here, so you want to be careful of being misled or taken for granted or taken for a ride. Also in relationships with this transit, you can be more confused or indecisive with Neptune here, but you can have a lot of intuition, a very strong intuition and powerful dreams at this time, and powerful downloads. So you want to follow your intuition. This can be a time where you kind of live under what you want to be true, but isn't. You can have very idealistic projects and be disappointed a lot because you're unrealistic about what you're trying to do. So you kind of ruin it for yourself from the get-go. So you want to really try and moderate that and get other people's opinions as well, as people that really care about you, that's going to be honest with you. And you want to be really getting down to who it is that you really are, and learn to love and accept yourself for who you are, so you can get to a point where you are not needing validation from others to feel worthy, to be yourself. This can be a period where you are sacrificing something in a relationship or in a business relationship, or sacrificing something for others, wanting to save others under this transit. You want to be careful not to go into relationships that need saving. This is a transit where you could feel unworthy, where you can sometimes get into relationships where you need a strong person to lean on, and then you become unhealthily codependent on them, or vice versa. Sometimes this can also indicate escapism, unhealthy drug and alcohol abuse, or sleeping during the day too much, and being just overall sort of just down and out, sort of giving up on things. So this is a time where you really want to seek active counseling or therapy, or talk to someone if you go through periods where you may feel like you don't have boundaries, and you sort of drown in your sorrow, or drown in a situation, and you can't see past what you're feeling at that very moment. it's important to reach out and let people know how you're feeling. And then Uranus is in Taurus from 2018 till 2026 in your third house. So your day-to-day activities, your commute in your neighborhood to work, your day-to-day dealings, where you shop, your neighbors, your relatives, your friends, all of these things can go through many changes during this time. Your mental attitude can change. You can be forced to look at life and your immediate environment in a new way. You can learn to communicate in new and unique ways, maybe learn a new language, or learn a new computer skill or technology. Your daily habits can change. Maybe you go through epiphanies or understand things you weren't previously able to. You sort of have a mental breakthrough with this transit. Your interest can change and become more unconventional. Your tempo of life can increase considerably here. And you won't take things for granted as much. The details of your life can become more important with Uranus here. And little by little, Uranus can create big changes in this area. If you're not willing to make changes here in maybe your beliefs or your opinions or how you see things or how you communicate or how you move around, this can also be your mobility that's affected by this, then there can be upsetting changes. So there is limitations or restrictions of some kind of smothering that you're trying to free yourself from and become more independent in some way, independent in your neighborhood or in your movement or how you think. And if you don't start reading the signals and realizing that you need to become more flexible here, you need to become more change things up and do things differently, think outside of the box, be more innovative in this area, then something uncomfortable could take place to do that for you. There can be new and unexpected people come into your life or unexpected sudden events in connection to relatives, friends, neighbors, your mind, your writings, your communication. You want to try and look at things more in wonder, like sort of from a child's perspective here. You want to become more free to enjoy the little things in life, to be more flexible, follow divine guidance. In severe cases, if you're not doing the work, especially with Neptune in the first house as well, there can be a period where you maybe feel like you're having like a mental breakdown with this or extreme anxiety. This is also a time where it can be good for you to start like a meditative technique, a breathing technique that can help you slow down and calm your thoughts and so forth, and take care of your mental health during this time. There can also be financial fluctuations and volatility in general with Uranus in Taurus, collectively for everyone. And then Saturn in Aquarius has been in your 12th house since December of 2020 and will be here until 2023. And there is a need to sort of finish things that have not been completed in the last 12 years or in the last few years. So you're cleaning things up, you're finishing up, you're sort of, just really streamlining. This is not always a good time for new projects as you're finishing up things and sort of cleaning things up. Circumstances can compel you to finish things up at this time. Certain aspects in life can be falling away. The way you've been handling people and situations may no longer work for you. It can feel like you have to change everything in your life in order to succeed, and you don't really know how with Saturn here. Sometimes Saturn here can make you withdraw and sort of also go into more of a hermit mode. It can bring depression or sadness. Sometimes it can be indicative of mourning or mental illness, or just depression and illness in general, or being in hospital. Or it can indicate a father figure possibly being ill or being far away. But sometimes you need to withdraw more in this time to go within and evaluate things for yourself. It's important for you to see what has worked in your life and what hasn't, and not to judge yourself or others, but to simply observe and recognize these things, recognize when you're being triggered, clear away leftovers from the past, take time to forgive, go for counseling, talk to someone, make room for a new beginning. Get rid of all the old toxic self-sabotaging habits and start loving yourself. Cut your losses and move forward. This can be a time where you can feel like you're under a lot of pressure from all sides. So this is really a time where you want to go within and get a meditative practice, spend time in prayer, look towards your faith and belief systems and strengthening your spiritual practice, so that you can really purify and clean things up and heal in order for a new order to begin in your life when Saturn enters your first house in 2023. And then Jupiter will be in Pisces as we enter the year. And this is in your first house. And Jupiter will ingress Aries in your second house on the 10th of May. Now, Jupiter will retrograde on the 28th of July and make its way into Pisces on October 28th, where it will station direct in November and re-enter Aries on the 20th of December 2022. Therefore, he will be approximately 6 months in each sign. Now, Jupiter transiting your first house, an important new cycle of growth starts in your life, and you are discovering your true self. It's a time where you are more aware of your effect on others, learning and gaining new experience here is emphasized. This is not a time to focus on meaningless material goals. Associations and activities must take on a more deeper meaning of life, usually with Jupiter here. Optimism, joy, success, and more self-confidence can possibly be experienced. Advantageous connections, travel, or moves overseas are possible with this transit. Be careful of thinking you know it all or becoming overbearing or exaggerating. Some can be more susceptible to weight gain with Jupiter here during this time. Avoid rich foods or overindulging or overdoing anything. Take care of your liver. Make sure that you're not being taken advantage of by others, and that you are not over compassionate or over giving during this time. And then Jupiter will enter Aries in your second house. And this can be helpful to obtain that which you value more now, whether skills, possessions, money, a certain job, a more spiritual value, more of a sense of self-worth. It's also possible to overspend with this transit or spend on frivolous things. Maintaining a healthy balance on pleasure spending and that which is important now. Put a little aside for a rainy day. Sometimes this can indicate foreign investments. Sometimes we can overindulge a little bit here and eat too much sugar or drink too much alcohol. You might deal a lot more with physical possessions or even buying real estate or even in a faraway place or dealings with a past loved one's possessions. Your perception and understanding will grow in regard to ownership, possessiveness, attachment, memories, spirituality, emotional and financial security connected to what you own and what you can show. And all of this in regards to your sense of self and your self-worth and why is it important for some people to fit in with the Joneses. You are not what you earn or what you own. Money can bring temporary bliss and joy, but true happiness comes from acceptance of yourself and gratitude for what you have. And that permeates into other people's lives. This is a time where you want to also remember to give. And remember, again, you're not what you earn or own or do for a living. You are an eternal being in a physical form. And your soul's purpose and your soul's value is what matters and the difference you make in other people's lives. And Mars will be in Sagittarius as we start the year and will ingress into Capricorn on the 24th of January in your 11th house. And like I said, this is your a powerhouse house for you, for everyone in the coming year. This is where Mars, Pluto, and Venus conjunct on the 3rd of March. And Mars here in Capricorn, in your 11th house, is exalted. It increases your worldly ambitions to achieve. It's well organized. It likes regulated action and practical results. It can sometimes bring a prudish sex drive. It can bring gains or losses by friends and accidents or accidental fortune. There can be suffering on account of religious conviction with this placement, fortunate friendships and voyages, and friends among foreigners, travelers, scientists, legislators, or people in high places. Now with Mars here, there's more action towards formulating goals and pursuing goals. Teamwork is usually required here, but you might find it harder to work with others now, as this transit requires you to create a balance between your and other people's interests. So that's really what you're going to be learning here, but it can be harder to work in a team environment because you're more selfish during this time without even realizing it, possibly more emotional. You could be very busy in your head, formulating, thinking about your future. This can be a time where you don't really want to follow the rules or follow instructions from other people. You kind of want to do your own thing. So this can bring difficulties with coworkers or bosses or with friends. Sometimes this transit can involve an accident with a friend, but it is also great for group sports or getting unique ideas, getting light bulb moments. It's great for innovative ideas, unique solutions to problems. You may find, that you've been struggling with something for a while and suddenly you just know what to do. This can also indicate sometimes a period where you're actively looking to hire someone to collaborate with or hire someone to to for a team or someone, just hiring people that are like-minded. This can sometimes indicate fighting for rights and freedoms, or actively looking for licensing in some area, or dealing with the law in some way, and so forth. And then Mars will conjunct Pluto on the 3rd of March in your 11th house at 27 degrees, almost at its exaltation of 28 degrees. And this can be a difficult transit for some. This can sometimes make us tempted to take control of whatever is happening around us. It can stimulate ambition, but it can make us violent or disruptive, or bring a ruthless energy, or create ego conflicts, maybe with coworkers or with friends or in groups. There can be power games, work politics or governmental politics getting in here. So you want to avoid dangerous places, people, situations, because this energy can be either you exerting this, or you could be under this energy from someone else. But this is also a time where you could possibly gain power in some way. So make sure you're not abusing your power or using it selfishly. It's great energy for making changes, though, maybe in your future goals or in work related, or doing heavy amounts of work. This energy can sometimes affect a parent. There can sometimes be accident or death regarding a loved one. Sometimes women in government can be affected by a transit like this. Business dealings regarding death, wills, inheritances, or just affairs of the dead, higher positions, and getting awarded in some way, or being kind of put on a stage in some way. And then Mars will enter Aquarius on the 6th of March in the 12th house, and this will also trigger the last bit of the Saturn-Uranus square we had all of 2021, and we'll have also in 2022, the past versus the future, the old versus the new, and restriction versus freedom. And you may have been feeling this, especially in your 3rd and 12th houses of movement and limitations, living now and here and far away, busy life and vacations, communication, or health and someone far away or in hospital, your mental health and your physical health and your psychology, relatives and separation, everyday schedules, neighborhood activities, and self-sabotaging behaviors and addictions and so forth. Now, Mars in Aquarius has a flair for innovation, original, unique ways, thinks outside of the box. Mars seeks freedom of action, is more sexually cool and unemotional. Now, Mars here can bring difficulties through religion, science, journeys. This can bring about writing or inventions. It can be harder to complete work and publish it with Mars here. There can sometimes be long journeys to seclusion, gain by secret affairs, or gain through hospitals, sanitariums, occult investigations, or even large animals of some kind. But in general, this can feel like you are working in the background, or you're not getting credit for what you do, or there can be self-denial here. You can feel more irritable with this transit, lower energy. You can feel like you're not worthy. There can sometimes be inappropriate behavior patterns that can cost you your position, or you can come across in the wrong way and undermine yourself. And this is due to subconscious survival patterns stemming from possibly your childhood or your past in some way, that or behaviors that no longer serve you, that are coming up and being triggered for you to heal. And sometimes people cannot know how to deal with this when it's happening, and sort of steer the other way, and this can come across as secret enemies of some kind. But there can also be secret enemies with this type of transit, or you can feel like you're being spiritually attacked in some way. You have nightmares or more angry thoughts. There can be self-harm with this transit, so you want to make sure that if you're going through a difficult time, that you talk to someone. There's no shame in asking for help. But this is a time that you want to go for counseling if you need it, because you can be more emotional. You can feel more depressed with less drive. And you want to rather confront yourself at this time instead of others and work on healing yourself. It might be better for you to work by yourself or alone, or doing some kind of volunteer work or social service work, or working in a hospital or a prison. Sometimes this placement can indicate being in a mental health facility or going through some mental health issues, wanting to go on holiday or going on a vacation or a retreat, or this can indicate certain disruption in your sleep patterns. Maybe you have difficulty sleeping at this time and struggle with insomnia, or you're working at night, or working or wanting to work out at night. You're more active at night. And you just want to sort of avoid any underhanded activities or people that you don't trust, and dangerous situations altogether. And then Mars will also conjunct Saturn on the 4th and 5th of April at 22 degrees of Aquarius. And when Mars conjuncts Saturn, there can be more frustrations and irritations with this transit. And it's best to avoid any risky activities. You may experience less energy here. You can feel built up anger that you cannot express for some reason. So this is a good time to really work out physically, do some meditation, do some martial arts, and get rid of this tension. This is great for working on something that requires heavy concentration or careful technique. You could also be working sort of separated at this time or far away. This is important to be cautious with machinery, cutting tools, weapons, steel and iron, or anything that could cause accidents. But this is also a great energy to finally get to a point where you can break free from limitations, restrictions, or anything that's kind of holding you back or been suffocating you in some way. An area where you've wanted to be more free and independent in yourself. Because Mars will also be squaring Uranus, and this brings in a rebellious and impulsive energy. But you want to be careful in regards to meeting up with authority figures or the law in some way. But you're actively asking, how can I be myself here? And this transit can make you more easily angered and even aggressive. But you're being triggered here to make changes in an area of your life, or a relationship, or a situation, or a belief system, or a pattern, or a habit, or something. And You're being signaled to do that. So it's time to get less rigid here, to let go more, to become more flexible, to make changes that can make you feel like this is happening in a new way. Be more innovative here, think outside of the box, make it fresh, make it new and exciting, make it different, or end it in a way, because if you don't, this is going to become unhealthy, and the universe will move you out of this. The universe will change this for you, and that could be disruptive, traumatic, it can be uncomfortable. So follow the signs and make the changes. There can be more possibilities for accidents with this kind of transit. And remember to think outside of the box. New challenges require new solutions. And then Mars will enter Pisces on the 15th of April in your first house of self and your physical body. And this is just after the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction here on the 12th of April. And we can experience more of a lack of motivation with Mars and Pisces, a lack of confidence. Mars can sometimes here function best in under clear direction and in quieter, more harmonious, peaceful atmospheres, if it wants to be productive anyway. Mars in Pisces gives us more of an affectionate and romantic nature. Money can come easily or hard to accumulate. There can be long journeys, learning, gaining wisdom, prudence, fortunate connections with wife's parents or spouse's parents, with a second marriage partner, and with foreigners or foreign affairs at this time. But in general, this is a much busier time in your life where you're working hard to further interests and asserting yourself. And this is a chance for you to show the world what you can do with Mars here. You can make a strong impression. This is also a great time for sales. If you sell anything, or if you want to maybe sell a vehicle or something like that. This is a transit where you can be prone to being more self-absorbed or selfish and not as sensitive to others or willing to compromise much. And this can bring difficulty in relationships. So it is a better time to work independently if possible. Otherwise, you may experience difficulty working with others. You can also be more inclined to fight for your rights, and you won't want to allow anyone to take anything from you. You can have a bit more energy here because this is affecting you physically. You can feel more motivated and inspired. You can get a lot more done. You can feel more upbeat and independent at this time. Be cautious though of being impulsive, of accidents. Check out your vehicle condition regularly. Watch for anger outbursts. Make sure you're physically exercising to get rid of anxiety and stress. And also watch your driving, that you're not driving too fast, and also watch your words and not using dangerous machinery or anything at this time. And then Mars will conjunct Neptune on the 17th of May at 24 degrees of Pisces. And this can bring about strange feelings for some, feeling more irritable or discouraged or unable to do what you normally like to do. Sometimes this can make you feel a bit more inferior or useless in some way. You also want to avoid abusing drugs or alcohol or any dangerous, unhealthy escapism habits. You don't want to start anything new, as it could possibly be disappointing eventually. You want to watch for action based on delusions or being taken for a ride somehow. But this is a great energy for serving others, volunteering, spending time with the less fortunate, or helping in hospitals or food kitchens. As long as your intentions are good. This can sometimes indicate being hospitalized, or working in a hospital or a prison, or going to prison or something like this, or going into some kind of seclusion. It's important for you to rest and not push your body too hard, because there can be a bit of lower energy with this connection to Neptune. Sometimes this can indicate illness. You can feel more lazy and lethargic. You can have a lower sex drive. So you also want to make sure you're cleaning your lymph at this time, and you're exercising, but in a more controlled manner. Don't go crazy. Be kind to yourself. Practice self-care at this time. This is a great time for good music, or working on music, or writing poetry, or you might feel more romantic with Mars and Neptune here. And then Mars will enter Aries on the 24th of May in your second house. And Mars here is dignified, likes direct and immediate action, is more aggressive, more impulsive, goes for what it wants. It's more courageous and brave, has more energy, it's more competitive, it's more alive. But there can be haste with Mars here, which can make you more prone to accidents, injuries, but it gives you a stronger sex drive. This placement can bring money gained by foreign merchants, or by sea, or by import and exports, or basically from far away. There can be learning, publishing, travel, inventions, or investing, or banking, monetary gains through these methods. There can be also just activity through this. There can be money through personal ingenuity. There can be an interest in financial affairs, or much work, little gain, or heavy losses in some indicators if other transits support this. But there can be losses and gains with this transit. So you want to really watch your spending and not being impulsive during this time. But with Mars here, you can identify your ego with what you own. You may equate your self-worth with what you earn or do for a living. It's important to note that you are not what you earn, or what you do, or what you own. This seems to be quite a theme for you at this time. Arguments about values, morals, beliefs, opinions, and their worth can come up with Mars here. Disputes over property or use of property or ownership can lead to estrangement from others. There can be a strong desire for possessions at this time, or wasteful and impulsive spending. But you can also be working really hard at earning during this time, and making a living, and working really hard on maybe building or starting your own business. Sometimes this can mean you're using your own possessions to help you with an income or work in some way. This is an important time to not try to shove your beliefs down other people's throats. You could have harsh words at this time. You want to also watch what you eat, how you eat, and not eating too fast. And watch what you say as well at this time. And then Mars will conjunct Jupiter on the 29th of May at 3 degrees of Aries. And this can be great for energy and physical activity. We're getting a boost of confidence now. Things are feeling better. We don't want to be overconfident though, because this can lead to humiliation or accidents. It's important to stay cautious in investments or speculation. But this can also be a lucky aspect, bringing blessings of some kind. This is great for muscle building. This can make childbirth easier. We want to watch self-indulgence with this aspect though as well. In some cases, this can indicate some kind of secret sadness in some cases as well. And then Mars will enter Taurus in your third house on the 5th of July. And Mars here is in detriment, which makes it slower to start things or initiate things, but it boosts practical direction and determination, and it brings purposeful action. And Mars in Taurus can be more money focused or gain focused, and likes to work with money, likes to build things, likes to work with earthly materials, gardening, farming, pottery, self-sustaining, working with your hands, establishing your own security. It's also got a more basic sensual, sexual drive. There can be gain through education, writing, relatives and neighbors, and short journeys or even losses through these methods. Journeys and removals on account of convictions or beliefs, learning and accomplishment and progress through research, travel, investigations, explorations, travel and writing at this time. But in general, you're busier in your everyday life. There's more danger, though, in everyday life as well. There can be, you can be more accident prone here. So you want to also watch the condition of your vehicle, make sure it's maintained, watch your driving. You may have changes in your commute to work. There can be more interactions and connections with friends, neighbors, relatives, and siblings, more action in your neighborhood. Positively, this is great for working on something together with these people, as there can tend to be more conflict, during this time with friends, neighbors, relatives, and siblings. So working on something can actually be working on a relationship as well. This is a great transit for selling product. If you're selling anything or selling a vehicle, this is great for mental work, and so forth. And then Mars will also conjunct Uranus and the North Node at 18 degrees of Taurus on the 1st of August. And this can bring sudden upsets, disruptions, surprises, financial losses or gains, volatility financially, security-wise. Your plans can be derailed. You can have a bit of a freak out or wanting to break free from limitations and restrictions. There can be a sense of rebellion here. Energy can be volatile. Accidents are usually self-inflicted. Avoid driving too fast or working with dangerous machinery or weapons if angry. But this can be a wonderful energy for creating new projects or being innovative or creating, building something super unique. Thinking outside of the box, finding solutions. This can have genius downloads at this time. This is good time to work out and channel your energy appropriately, because you will be wanting to assert your individuality during this time. Now let's have a look at the retrogrades for 2022. Mercury will retrograde from air to earth, so from Aquarius to Capricorn, Gemini to Taurus, and Libra to Virgo. And I'm going to go over the general Mercury retrograde topics that we will possibly, encounter with all of the retrogrades in some way or another. Mental activity, anxiety, common misunderstandings, transportation and communication issues, mistakes, loss of passwords, loss or damage to electronics, email errors, retesting, relearning, rethinking, redoing, reevaluating, changing our mind, reversals, cancellations, people from the past coming back, bank error, card error, memories, electricity, internet outages, car malfunctioning, mechanical fault, wrong numbers, a fridge that doesn't work, a burst pipe, rerouted traffic, accidents, and so forth. So you don't want to be buying new electronics, signing contracts you can't get out of. You want to back up your data. You don't want to start new things. You want to wait. Rather review, adjust, plan, strategize, prepare, work out the schedules, iron out the irons while Mercury's retrograde. Mercury will retrograde from Aquarius at 10 degrees to Capricorn 24 degrees for 21 days from January 14th until the 4th of February. And during this retrograde from Aquarius to Capricorn, the following topics can generally, collectively be expected to sort of be showing up here and there. Friends, alliances, groups, political groups, coworkers, people, organizations can have their true colors be known during this time. Your future hopes, wishes, and goals, the markets and supply lines, social lives, freedom and individuality, our rights, the collective, radio frequencies, internet, electronics, AI, governmental changes, politicians, imbalances in career, property, commitments, hard work, sadness, separation, limitations, illnesses, serious responsibilities, teeth, bones, and minerals coming to the topic forefronts. And then for you, this can be affecting you in the 12th and 11th houses, and also your 7th and 4th houses possibly. So this can be affecting your love, business relationships, your public image, your interaction with the public, opponents, lawyers, counselors, and so forth. It can also affect your home, your family, your foundation, your roots, like your homeland, property, your past, memories, people from your past, your childhood, a parent, and so forth. It can also connect to losses, endings, self-sabotaging behaviors, secret enemies, secrets, love affairs, mental health, subconscious behavior patterns, childish behavior, hospitalization or faraway places, depression, loneliness. It can also touch the 11th house of friends, coworkers, groups and alliances, future hopes and goals, and so forth. And then Mercury will retrograde at 4 degrees of Gemini to 26 degrees of Taurus from May 10th to the 3rd of June for 24 days. And this is all your general Mercury retrograde topics again, but you can add to it some brutally honest people, gossiping, poking their noses where they shouldn't, flight delays, schedule changes, plans derailed, So it's best to plan ahead and rethink things, double check things, use direct communication, proofread, and so forth. Collectively, we could experience more chaos financially and banking, markets, agriculture, our values, skills, work, how we earn money, our self-worth, what's important to us, our comfort, and so forth. It's important to rethink how you spend and invest and how you earn money during this time, and to also not have all your eggs in one basket, whether it's in regards to how you create an income and how you invest. You want to have more than one income. You want to have more than one investment, so that nothing is all in one place. So that if there's sudden surprises, shocks, or turnarounds, you can be flexible enough to move with the changes at that time. And this will mainly affect your 4th, 7th, and 3rd houses. So again, like I mentioned, the 4th and the 7th already. So I'll mention the 3rd here, which is your general neighborhood and immediate environment, the people you deal with every day, your communication, emails, your mail, the people at the grocery store, your commute to work, your car. You want to watch for accidents and, get your car maintenance at this time. Your general communication also with relatives, siblings, friends, and neighbors, and so forth. And then Mercury will also retrograde from 8 degrees of Libra to 24 degrees of Virgo from September 10th to the 2nd of October for 22 days. And here everything in connection to grace, charm, diplomacy, collaborations, contracts, agreements, relationships in love and business can be off balance. Justice, fairness, peace, harmony, cooperation. You may rethink your style, your looks, your financials, your values, and so forth. Public health issues can come up during this time. COVID topics, employment, work, mental health, unusual healing modalities. And for you, this can affect, again, your 4th, 7th, and this time your 8th house, which is the area of shared resources, your spouse's income, your intimacy with your partner, sex, trauma from the past, the meaning of life. There can be connections with the dead, or in business regarding the dead, like inheritance, wills. There can be topics such as taxes, debts, other people's money, business partnership money, shared resources with your spouse, shared property, maybe issues with the law in connection with finances, etc. And then Venus will retrograde from 19 December 2021 to 2022, 29th January. That was weird. I meant to say 19th of December 2021 to 29 January 2022. Maybe I need a drink. Hold on a second. And this will be where Venus is conjunct Pluto. So we start the year out with Venus in retrograde in Capricorn from 23 degrees Cap to 11 degrees of Capricorn for 28 days. This is not including her shadow period before and after, which is usually, she's in total, it's like 40 days type of thing. Now, when Venus is in Capricorn, we deal with very much of the following types of energy. Slow love, less emotional, business love, money for love, love for money, business marriages, mercenary intentions, old money, age difference in love, love separated, mature, occupied, unavailable, restricted, forbidden types of love, love at work. There can be jealousy, manipulation, obsession, power struggles, and possession or possessiveness included here. There can be power moves in regards to property, banking, currencies, money, values. This can be supported love, mourning love. This can be reality checks connected to love and money. This can be a period where people want to take their love to the next level, get married, get engaged, and so forth. This can be a time where you want to mature your style and look more sophisticated, or redecorate your office or your workspace. But because Venus in Capricorn really knows what she wants. She wants security, she wants longevity, she wants to know it's going to last and it's sustainable. She wants to feel secure in love and money and be in control of it as well. So you might actually see a lot more sex trafficking revelations coming out, sex scandals. You might feel like going for a deep teeth clean or teeth whitening at this time. Now, when Venus retrogrades, issues of love and money and values and beauty and pleasure and sweet things and what brings us comfort and security and our love and business relationships, collaborations, partnerships, compromise, all of these things can come up for review and rebalancing. Old relationships can return, or issues regarding it, or maybe money-related issues regarding it. Unexpected expenses can pop up. There can be a laziness in this area. We can be more comfort-focused in this area. We can see more style and expensive art expeditions in the news. This is not a time that you want to start a new relationship, but if you do, just don't take it to the next level while Venus is retrograde. Don't get married or engaged. Don't make big investments or purchases that you could regret. Your self-worth is in for review, your truth and your currency, your values. Don't go for any crazy beauty procedures that could make you look like Catwoman when you're done and you could regret it. Spend time flaring up your marketing ads, or things like that could be good. Postpone, plan, reevaluate, rebalance, weigh the pros and cons, weigh the give and take in this area. Now, for you especially, this is in your 11th house, and this can bring laziness with friendships. This can bring laziness with future plans and goals, or sort of taking a step back from it. There can be ends in friendships, as maybe especially with women, or friendships in connection to money-related issues that ends. You might feel like you don't want to go to an AA meeting when you're supposed to go. You could maybe not want to belong to a certain group of friends anymore. Old friends can reappear. Old lovers that used to be friends, or there could be friend-lover connections here that come in for review, or issues that comes in for review here at this time. Sometimes there can also be some kind of benefactor situations with Venus here. And then Mars will retrograde from the 30th of October till the 12th of January 2023 for 63 days. from 25 degrees of Gemini to 8 degrees of Gemini. And Mars will be in mutual reception with Mercury in Scorpio at this time. So your Scorpio and Gemini houses could be working together in some way. Now, when Mars is our willpower, it's our drive, it's our passion, it's our go planet. And when it's retrograde, we can be a bit less assertive, we can have lower energy levels, lower sex drive. It can be harder for us to assert ourselves and go for what we want. But it's better to complete and finish already started projects with Mars, because Mars kind of wants to start things. It wants to initiate, wants to move forward and lead. But in this case, we want to channel the energy appropriately. We want to repair things, rather redo things, renovate. We want to be building websites and strategizing and getting our admin out of the way and things like that, instead of starting new things at this time. Also, exercise is good to release intense stress or anger issues. We can see much more debating in general collectively going on, more accidents, more arguments, more cities and chaos, more action in cities, transportation issues, car explosions are possible with Mars in Gemini. We can see more verbal arguments, verbal harsh words. We can have higher mental activity, angry thoughts. There's more movement. We can be more busy physically in our neighborhoods. We can be busier in regards to information in the media, and technology issues can pop up. There can be more shoplifting issues or theft. Pretty much when you think about Mars retrograde in Gemini, you can very much compare it to a Mercury retrograde. Similar things happen. We might have more blockages and not get as much done as we normally would like to, but Mars can be helpful in helping us to slow down and reflect on our desires, to rethink and analyze what aspects upset us and why, and where is it coming from. This is a time where you may rethink your vehicle or your driving or your route to work, your commute, your neighborhood where you live. You may be more emotional when you deal with relatives, neighbors, siblings, or friends. You can have a sharp tongue and be more busy and impulsive and more injury or accident prone. So the following could be more sensitive during this time: your lungs, asthmatic conditions, you're easier to pull a muscle or dislocate a joint. It's easier to cut or bruise arms, hands, and fingers. Inflammation and anxiety are more possible, and your lungs are more sensitive at this time. Maybe you quit smoking with Mars here in retrograde. This can be a time where it's good to take notes on ideas. You could have a lot of incoming ideas going on in your head. You could be very busy in your mind and need to write things down to sort of cope with that, make lists. This can be a time where you're studying or restudying, relearning, redoing tests. There can be changes in relationships and communications. Your mind can be more fragile but sharp. You can get in trouble for what you say here, or even when it's a joke. There can be more gossip, rumor. There can be more business schemes, especially online schemes. There can be more fighting with words. Freedom of speech and movement can come up here. Erotic fantasies and dirty talk. We can be more curious. And we can be more willing to fight for our opinions and beliefs with Mars retrograde here. And this can especially affect you in your 4th and 9th houses. This can lead to angry outbursts, craving support but struggling to get it, trouble with emotions. This can affect your relationship with your parents or family. You can be frustrated with home repairs or working on things in your home. This can also connect somehow to your ninth house of education and higher learning, or faraway places, or foreign affairs, or foreign people, or languages, your beliefs, your faith, other people's opinion, teaching, learning, and also a father figure or your in-laws. And then Jupiter will retrograde from the 28th of July till the 23rd of November for 118 days, from 8 degrees of Aries to 28 degrees of Pisces. And when Jupiter is in Aries, we can usually see new leadership in some way. And we can review things we want to start or take further or expand. We can be more overconfident, over-optimistic, arrogant, selfish, more accident-prone. We can promise and not deliver. We can make huge mistakes. And let me get more positive. So let's just keep this moderate. Let's be realistic. Stay humble. You know, we're feeling better here. But let's just keep it in balance. And you want to also watch liver issues, your alcohol intake. You may ask yourself, what spiritual lessons are you to learn now? Where can you be less about yourself and more about others? There can be opportunities here to create your own luck. You want to watch impulsiveness, anger flare-ups, mechanical or fire playing, avoid. What is happening that you need to learn from? Or who are you to learn from here? Or what are you teaching others? What is your truth? And realize that this is about your personal growth. Retrograde in Pisces, Jupiter can have us reviewing visions, our future, what we're aimed at, our ideals, our beliefs. We tend to be more compassionate. We have more of an emphasis on the meaning of life and the more spiritual side of life. Our innermost authentic selves, our deeper values, morals, our soul's growth and journeys, our integrity and beliefs. We really turn spiritually inward here, and we become more connected to each other. We become more aware of our connectedness to God and each other and the universe and how everything ripple affects. And we are not focused anymore on our separativeness, the color of our skin, or what makes us different from each other. We are connecting and coming together as humans with this awareness taking place. Now, with Jupiter retrograde here, this can affect you, especially in your second and first houses. Therefore, you might be focusing on your inner resources and values more. This can highlight unused skills and talents that you may have forgotten about. This can make you use what you have and be more thankful for it, and allow you opportunities to show your talents. This can bring a lot of spiritual growth for you. Jupiter here can be like an angel of protection. You can be challenging boundaries and rules and sort of move beyond your comfort zone. This is a good time to do something out of the ordinary, like sort of go crazy in an area that you wouldn't normally do that. That will actually benefit you and create your own luck. You'll feel more optimistic, and you will be able to help others more, and others will be more able to help you. And then Saturn will retrograde from the 4th of June till the 23rd of October, from 25 degrees Aquarius to 18 degrees Aquarius for 141 days. Now, when Saturn retrogrades, we tend to review committed and serious relationships, our reality, our life goals, our direction, our responsibilities and duties. And this stuff comes up for us to rebalance and restructure. How do we manifest our reality? Saturn reminds us of the aspects of life we cannot avoid, like rules, responsibilities, consequences, length of life, our skin color, taxes, restrictions, commitments, time itself, and physical limitations. And when Saturn affects areas, we require those areas to be restructured. We can experience delays here, frustrations, blockages, sometimes endings, illnesses, separations, a callousness, a loneliness, a sadness, a hard and coldness with this energy. And for you, this is in your 12th house, and this can feel very heavy at times. Sometimes this is because you are busy processing past traumas and unconscious issues and dealing with psychological issues that you're healing. So it's important to really reach out for help during this time if you need it. Go for counseling. Sometimes this can indicate mental illness or getting ill, getting to a hospital, spending time in seclusion or depression, or just separating yourself from others, or just going away for a while, or going to a faraway place. Allegiances to groups can be tested, cutting ties with a friend, grieving a loss, or separation of some kind. But this transit really wants you to work on your inner self and your subconscious behavior patterns and bring healing psychologically for you. And this is a time to heal, especially if you are mourning a loss. The nodal axis, which guides our moon's ecliptic path and determine the eclipse placements, moves into fixed sign polarity on the 19th of January 2022. The north node will be in Taurus, ruled by Venus, and the south node in Scorpio, ruled by Mars. Now, while this nodal axis shifts into fixed Taurus and Scorpio, this will indicate a year of extremes and quite stubborn energy for everyone collectively. There can be more of a determination, and we are also activating the Saturn-Uranus square with these nodal shifts. We can be asking ourselves, what skills do we have? What can we work with our hands and touch? Natural cosmetics and body care. We can be dealing with boundaries and freedoms, collectively visiting topics such as what's necessary and unnecessary, where can we simplify, become more manageable, let go, recycle, reuse, repurpose, minimize, purify, detox. What do you really need? Getting rid of clutter, releasing unnecessary structures, becoming less dependent on others. Mine versus yours, obsession, power, jealousy, control, manipulation, bullying, power struggles, stubbornness, agriculture, land and equalities, tax on the rich, fairness, wounds, secrets, sex scandals, and trafficking are revealed, new currencies, financial, new systems, new electronic systems, energy medicine, where does our food come from, communities, sharing our resources. And this is really a time where people will be letting go of fear and uncovering the truth and living fully in the now and giving it our all. And people will be much more geared to stand up for what they believe in with an all or nothing bravery. This is a time of letting go and purifying ourselves, getting rid of anything toxic, whether it's a situation, a relationship, a substance, a habit, healing wounds, creating our own security, self-sustaining, taking care of the earth, living off the earth, growing our own food, and getting back to basics. Now, with eclipses in these placements of Scorpio and Taurus, and any eclipse for that matter, the effects are longer. They're usually around 6 months. I usually say 6 months, but it can be shorter and longer at times. They also connect cycle to cycle. So there's all kinds of connections that can be made here, but let's just keep it simple and say it's about a 6-month effect. There can be fated turnarounds with eclipses. It's a portal where the veil is thin and you can be much more intuitive. This is a great time to spend in prayer. It's also a time where souls enter and exit, and we can have sudden shifts in direction, truths revealed, and transformations in our lives with sudden endings, beginnings, and so forth. Things coming into our lives and things exiting our lives. Now, we will also be having our first solar eclipse in Taurus in your 3rd house on the 30th of April. And this can be a new beginning, a new leaf being turned, a new idea or seed of intention, or a new perspective in connection with 3rd house topics. So you can have a new understanding, a new course of study, maybe new technology, maybe you are in a new neighborhood, or you're driving a new car or buying a new car, or you have a new leaf turned with certain relationships in regards to your communication with friends, relatives, or siblings, or neighbors. You can have a new mental outlook on things. There can be a new book that you're reading or writing, or a new online job that you're launching, and so forth. Then we will have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio in your 9th house on the 16th of May. And this is an ending or a culmination or something coming to a fulfillment or fruition or coming to a head in some way. And this can be a project that you are getting ready to publish, that's getting to the end of it. You can be finishing your degree or some kind of program. You can come to some kind of sort of point in your faith of fulfillment. You can finish something, a course that you've been teaching, a period overseas or connected to foreign affairs could finish up, or maybe you're finished with paperwork connected to foreign affairs or faraway places. This can also be something that's coming to a head in connection with your in-laws or with a father figure of some kind. And then on the 25th of October, and this can also, have something to do with other people's opinions as well, or old belief patterns and systems of beliefs and programming that you feel is no longer your truth and that does not serve you anymore. And then on the 25th of October, there will be a solar eclipse in Scorpio in your 9th house, in the same house. So this is a new beginning here. This is a new seed of intention, a new leaf being turned. Maybe you're traveling overseas, or your paperwork has now been finished and now you can use it. You've got a new passport or you've got residency somewhere and now you can move forward with that and initiate from here on out. You can have new visions of the future. You can have a new sense of freedom here. You can have found a new truth for yourself, a new belief system that makes sense. You can have downloads from the divine, dreams that show you the way. You can have spiritual revelations here. This can be the beginning of a new course or teaching or learning something, or someone coming into your life that changes your perspective on the world. So wonderful things can happen here. And then on the 8th of November, there is a lunar eclipse in Taurus in your 3rd house again. So this is an ending, a culmination, something coming to a head or finishing up in your neighborhood or in connection with your relatives, your siblings, your friends or neighbors. Maybe you are selling a car and buying a new car, or some form of communication or way of movement changes for you. Maybe you have a mental shift here. You're changing and ending a way of thinking in some way. This can be the end of a relationship with someone, like a relative or a friend or a neighbor. You could be moving out of your neighborhood or something of that sort. This can also be a place where you get to a point of making an important decision, and you've sort of done all your research and collected your data and you're ready to make a decision on something. Well, Pisces Rising, thank you for allowing me to guide you through the general potentials of the astrology of 2022. You are going through huge networking changes, connecting with those that play a purpose in your individual growth, really purifying your alliances and getting down to truth and what is really valuable for you, really evaluating your spiritual versus material values at this time, and getting to the truth of who you are and being okay with that and living in your authenticity. This is a wonderful year for you. Of course, there can be positives and negatives as life gives us. Just remember that if you're dealing with more of the negative, that this is for your best as well and your soul's growth and journey forward, and that what is meant for you cannot pass you by. I do tend to sound sometimes a bit more negative in my readings. Please remember that these are just potentials. It doesn't mean that they will work out that way. They're not guaranteed to work out that way. They're just potential energies, and each person's unique chart is affected differently by these transits. I simply just sort of give you worst case scenarios most of the time, just to make sure people are as prepared as they can be for things happening. We don't normally need to be as prepared for things when they are positive. So just be aware of that. You can also check out my general astrology potentials for 2022 collectively. I'll put the link below. May God bless you and keep you, and may the sun shine bright on you this day and year forward. Until next time.